2 years ago, I found out that I had a brother and I flew halfway across the world to meet him for the very first time. It was the wildest journey of my life. It's changed my life. Attempt to give you a quick rundown of my family situation and kind of grasp on my convoluted but fantastic family situation. Could even cause something like this to happen in the first place. So I grew up in an LGBTQ family. I have 2 mothers, and about 7 years into their relationship, they decided that they wanted to conceive. So they decided to go through a process called IUI, intrauterine insemination, which is kind of similar to IVF, except with IUI, the little swimmer injected directly into the uterus. And that little swimmer came from an anonymous donor. We only got a basic description of who he was. Then they had me and everything got better, okay? The world started to kind of brighten up. Everyone kind of started smiling again. I grew up with a beautiful family who loved me very much, and I didn't know who my donor was because it didn't matter. And then in 2021, I was in the middle of lockdown, slightly miserable and ridiculously bored, okay? I had one intrusive, aimless thought, like the majority of them. Decided I was gonna order an Ancestry DNA kit. There was no thought that went behind this, okay? Other than the fact that I thought, okay, let me confirm my ethnicity. Even though I was like 99.9% sure, okay? High odds that I was Danish and Finnish, 50-50%. But I was like, let's confirm. So I ordered the kit. A couple of weeks later, the Ancestry DNA kit came in the mail. I had an idea to get an Ancestry DNA kit. Jesus. So this is what the kit looks like. It was $150. If I find out some revolutionary information about myself, oh my God. This is a whole mission. In this little collection bag, and then you mail it back. It took me forever to actually open and do this kit because I knew it was going to require me sifting through and analyzing an instruction manual that I was just not mentally prepared to do at the time. And that's why I've been putting it off for so long. Where I put the instructions. Fill the tube with saliva to the black wavy line. That's that one, I assume.
That is a crap load of saliva.
How the fuck am I gonna produce that much spit? It gets too sciencey for me to even understand. I just spit in here?
Yes.
This is gonna be so gross.
Just work up some saliva, babe. Screw that on.
How do you do that? Look how high the wavy line is.
Stop for a second.
Don't touch my DNA.
Let me have a look.
Can I have some privacy? Will be nice. There we go. Is sealed. This is like mad exciting. Now I have to wait 6 to 8 weeks for the result. And so once I finished the test, my mum sent it off like every other important thing that I meant to keep track of. I completely forgot about it. 2 months later, again, I randomly remembered. I randomly decided to just film my reaction. I was like, this will be an interesting TikTok. And I had just started my TikTok page at the time. I got it out and I started filming. I've got my results. I'm so excited. Oh my God. I've got a first cousin, second cousin. This guy, what the heck? No, I'm actually gonna cry. No, I'm actually gonna cry because I found my half brother. And no, it said he was my first cousin, but he's my half brother. And he's messaged me. He's actually sent me a message. The message was Rowan, I'm 19, I live in France. It looks like we might be half siblings. And that's where I found out the news that genuinely changed the trajectory of the next 2 years of my life. Just operating as an only child, right? I'm spoiled, like to be the center of attention. Oof. I have a sibling, and it gets crazier from there. Yes, it. So after I found out that information and I had seen that he had actually sent me a message, I realized that he had sent this message 4 weeks ago. So I frantically found him on every social media, scoured the internet, added him, messaged him, thinking that he would be mad at me. Like, girl, I thought he was gonna be mad at me. Honey bun. Eventually, he got back to me and we started talking, we started getting to know each other. We started messaging. His English was fine because he's French. He lives in Bordeaux in France. We're messaging and we're getting to know each other. And then he tells me that doing Ancestry DNA kits was almost like his life mission. He had done so many of them. And through doing all of these kits, he had found out about other siblings. The first one was a brother, didn't have any interest in talking to us. There were some other issues there that I won't mention because that's his private life. The second sister he matched with and I also matched with, but neither of us had reached out. And the third sister he had tried to reach out to at this point, I believe. She had no idea that she was a donor baby. She was under the assumption that her father was genetically related to her. And so it was kind of a whole mess. But in that moment, I found out that I had a sphere. A what? In that moment, I found out I had a whole sphere of siblings. There were more that I was unaware of. This all happened within the span of like a few days. Can you imagine? Everything I had ever known had started to just unravel at the seams. I kind of found that out, I processed it. It was a really weird time in my life. I didn't feel upset or uncomfortable, but it's just like find out information with such gravity. An odd experience that unless you've gone through it yourself, it's very hard to articulate. We spoke for a couple of weeks, and in the past couple of months, I had been thinking about flying to Canada and working in Canada. There were a lot of issues. This job kept getting put off for COVID regulations. There was a whole bunch of dramas that stopped me from going to this job early in the year. I think it was all for a reason, because I said to him one day, what if I just flew to France to meet you? And he was like, he was in absolute shock. He was like, what? You're gonna fly to France? And so the next day I booked a flight because I'm nutty. Flew to France to meet him. And I've only got like vertical footage, but I'll show you the footage of me meeting him.
Hello. Hello. How are you? I am tall. I thought you were taller.
I told you you'd be jealous.
It was insane. I had just met my brother for the first time, an experience I never thought I could have. I had never even conjured up a similar thought because I grew up as an only child. So now I was halfway across the world, away from my family, meeting new family, adding to the circle of madness. And at first it was very awkward. I sat down at the dining table with him and his mum and his girlfriend, and we were just kind of like, we started talking, started to get to know each other. I just had a normal, courteous conversation trying to get to know someone who was my brother. And over the span of the next 4 or 5 days, we became like best friends, inseparable. We were the exact same person, like split in two. The same personality, same sense of humor, same kid-like, childlike energy. If you imagine like two 10-year-olds that are best friends and that are just like little shit running amok all over the place, that is what we were like. The best time, laughing, and we got on so well, like we had known each other our entire lives. After I met him, I decided that I was gonna continue traveling the world, and it really skyrocketed the journey and made me realize that traveling is something that I'm very passionate about, that I want everybody in the world to experience. I continued to travel for the next 7 months across Europe, across Canada, and across these 7 months we stayed in touch, we FaceTimed regularly. At the end of the year, I said to him, what if I came back for Christmas? I spent Christmas in France, on the other side of the world, with another family that I've added to my collection, because now apparently I'm just adding more characters like this is a bloody sim game. And now I'm still traveling the world, and my brother's planning on actually coming to Australia so he can meet all of my family. Hopefully that will be happening in the next couple of months, but this was an amazing time in my life. It's changed my life. Yeah, I wanted to share my story because there are families out there that are considered unconventional. There are a lot of family stories that are really unique and that aren't shared because we all assume that family looks one way, and family doesn't all look one way. Everybody who I love is my family, and that's how I choose to operate in this world. My story of how I met my brother for the very first time. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video.